Chapter 11, Battle, Kick and Explode. Why does Yezii think Crocodile is arrogant? Because for Crocodile, getting Pluton can disrupt the world. Perhaps this is not arrogance, but a kind of sitting and watching the sky. But anyway, at least for Crocodile now, Pluton is still the top priority. Do you want to know now? Yezii raised the corner of his mouth and looked away from Nico Robin in the dark. Go down first, Miss All Sunday. Okay. When Robin in the shadow heard the words, his brows were slightly frowned, but he answered with a smile, and then walked away. When Robin was about to walk out of the room, Yezii's voice slowly sounded. It's best not to use your fruit power to eavesdrop, son of the devil, Nico Robin. Hearing Yezii's words, Robin couldn't help but tremble slightly, then left the room and closed the door. Let's talk about what you know about Pluton. In the room, Crocodile looked at Yezii and spoke directly. He couldn't wait, and he was a little impatient. Don't worry, Shalak. Yezii sat directly on the sofa in front of Crocodile, with a smile on his lips, and said slowly. Before talking about Pluton, I think you should fight me once. What do you mean? Crocodile frowned immediately upon hearing this. Literally. Yezii shrugged. He did know about Pluton and would tell Crocodile, but not now, but after Crocodile became a member of the guild. But before that, he wanted to fight Crocodile once, to test his strength, and to test what level his strength reached in this world. As for other things, it was not anxious to wait until after the battle to inform them one by one. If you don't know the news about Pluton, get out. I don't have the time to waste time with you. Crocodile said in a cold voice. In his opinion, Yezii might not know the news about Pluton, but just came over and asked for trouble. If it's normal, he will definitely take a direct shot and kill Yezii strongly. But now, no. The reason is simple. Although Yezii didn't reveal his strength and aura, Crocodile could be regarded as a strong man on the sea anyway. There is a kind of intuition that Yezii is not simple. Therefore, he didn't want to fight Yezii, one was a waste of time, and the other was no benefit. Seeing this, Yezii couldn't help but shook his head, and then smiled. Give you a request, fight with me, no matter whether you win or lose, I will tell you Pluton. I not only know about Pluton, but I also know where Pluton's design drawings are. Really? As soon as Yezii's voice fell, Crocodile stood up abruptly, resting his hands on the table, and staring at Yezii. Not because Yezii would tell himself the news, but because Yezii actually knew where Pluton's design drawings were. That was what he had dreamed of for years. Nature. Yezii nodded. Seeing Yezii, Shalak couldn't help being silent, as if thinking about the truthfulness of Yezii's words. Biting a cigar in his mouth, white smoke slowly erupted from his nose. After a while, Crocodile said solemnly. Follow me. After speaking, Crocodile turned and left. Seeing this, Yezii also raised the corners of his mouth and followed. Undoubtedly, Crocodile has promised to fight himself, which is a happy thing. The rain is dozens of miles away. In a desert. You want to fight, I will fulfill you, but I hope what you say is true, otherwise you will be buried in the desert forever after today. Crocodile looked at Yezii with a cold voice. Don't worry. Yezii said slowly with an excited smile on his face. I will tell you what I should tell you. Besides, you may not be better than me. The voice fell. Flame-burning step. Boom. A flame spewed, and the next moment, the fire of hell was wrapped around Yezii's legs. With the appearance of the fire of hell, Yezii's eyes also flashed red, like blood. Humph. For Yezii's words, Crocodile just snorted and didn't answer. But when he noticed the flames on Yezii's body, a touch of jealousy flashed in his eyes. Then the palm of his right hand opened, and a small desert whirlwind formed in the palm of his palm, and then he threw it directly at Yezii. Shalan. However, after the water cup-sized desert whirlwind was thrown out by Crocodile, it suddenly turned into a huge sandstorm while moving in mid-air, like a natural disaster. With a powerful strangling force, it struck towards Yezii. Good job. Yezii looked excited. After coming to this world for a few days, he finally saw a decent strong man without any fear, only excitement. Shine Shadow Chain Kick. Yezii let out a low drink, and the power of his whole body rushed towards his right foot in an instant. Next moment, Yezii burst out and jumped into the air. Not only did he not avoid the slightest, but directly faced the sandstorm. On Yezii's right leg, covered with flames, he blasted towards the sandstorm with one foot. Boom! A loud noise. The terrifying power burst out from Yezii's right leg. That was his full strength, without any reservation. The bursting power shocked Crocodile almost instantly. How can this be? Seeing the scene before him, the cigar in Crocodile's mouth could not help falling to the ground. His eyes widened, staring at the scene before him. I saw that mid-air. Yezii kicked, forcibly destroying the sandstorm. Kick it and dissipate it in mid-air. This is almost a visually stunning scene. Surprised Crocodile. Chapter 12, I Surrender. So powerful. Crocodile couldn't help taking a breath, imagining that if he took this blow, he would be crushed to pieces in an instant. But shortly afterwards, he laughed wildly. But it's a pity, this is a desert, and I am a Logia sand fruit capable person. For him, the desert is his domain, and in the desert, he will be unmatched. Desert Knife. Crocodile roared, his right hand covered with dust, or making a huge sand blade, he slashed towards Yezii. It has to be said that Logia fruit is indeed powerful, at least in terms of range-type damage. Other types of fruit seldom can create land with Logia, and even the range type has terrifying power. Interesting. The corner of Yezii's mouth was raised, and the almost skyrocketing sand blade was about to arrive, but the expression on Yezii's face was still indifferent, without the slightest fear. Shunpo. With the thought, Yezii disappeared instantly, avoiding the slash. Immediately afterwards, Yezii's figure flickered in the desert, approaching Crocodile at a very fast speed, but in a moment, he came to Crocodile. Strike hard. Yezii's figure appeared in mid-air, flames burning on his right leg, and a violent blow suddenly struck him. Boom! The dust and sand were burned, and a large pit was blasted out of the ground, as if quicksand was formed. However, Crocodile laughed. It's useless, I'm a sand fruit capable person, with elemental abilities, you can never hurt me. He faced Yezii's bombardment just now, without the slightest dodge, allowing Yezii to bombard himself, but because he was elemental, Yezii's attack did not hurt him, but from him. Go through. For those with Logia ability, it is indeed troublesome. Yezii said calmly. He hadn't learned armament haki, and if he wanted to deal with Logia's ability, he must either look for the weakness of its elements or fight for consumption. But Yezii naturally didn't have the idea of fighting with Crocodile, just grinned. Sharlock, use your strongest move, otherwise you won't have a chance when you can. Don't be too arrogant. Crocodile immediately became angry when he heard Yezii's words, and roared. Since you want to die, then I will fulfill you. Desert King Kong Sword. Crocodile roared, and as his voice fell, his hands were swept by yellow sand in an instant, and finally turned into 4 huge and extremely sharp sand blades, which seemed to be overwhelming, and they were suddenly slashed. Seeing this, Yezii raised the corner of his mouth, made a fist with his right hand, and directly hit his chest with a fist. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and Yezii sprayed his fist and right leg. Although there is no armament haki, it can hurt Sharlock as well. It's just that Yezii didn't prepare a water source before, so he could only use blood instead. And this time, the 4 huge sand blades have already hit, and they are close in front of them. Flames rose from Yezi's body, and the heat radiated. The next moment, it was a thought. Jai Wubuang kicked. The strongest move from Jai Wubuang was used by Yezi. I saw flames gushing above Yezi's right fist, a punch blasted out, and his figure exploded. Yezi's legs made a deep crack on the ground, and sparks appeared in it. Boom! A punch blasted out, and suddenly it hit the sand blade. The blade shook, and the next moment, Yezi was blown away with a punch. Immediately afterwards, he kicked it out again. The power of terror erupted in an instant, and the air seemed to vibrate slightly. Boom! 2 consecutive sand blades were also suddenly shattered at this moment, turning into yellow sand and scattered on the desert. Only the last huge sand blade was left, and Yezi kicked it out again. Boom! The 4 sand blades were shattered by Yezi in just a few breaths. And then, there was a final blow. On Yezi's right leg, the power of the whole body gathered, and the fire burned violently and rose. Kicked it out, with terrifying destructive power, directly blasted towards Crocodile. The final blow of Jaiwu Overlord's kick. How terrifying is its power! At this moment, facing Yezi's kick, Crocodile seemed to feel the breath of death for an instant. He had a strong instinct. If he was hit by this blow, I will die. There is absolutely no possibility of survival. No, I can't die. Crocodile bit the tip of his tongue sharply. The tingling sensation made him recover from his fear. Looking at the foot that was about to face him, Crocodile roared fiercely without hesitation. I surrender. Face. Arrogant. He is arrogant, but not yet arrogant. In front of life, Crocodile does not want to die, at least he does not want to die in the hands of Yezi, an unknown person. As Crocodile's voice fell. Boom! Yezi turned abruptly, and the kick that was about to hit Crocodile's head was abruptly turned to the other direction by Yezi, and bombarded in the desert. Rumbling. It seemed that the desert was shaking, and a huge pothole was bombarded out immediately. It's like a Uzumaki. It looks like you lost. Yezi turned his head to look at Crocodile, and said calmly. Before Crocodile could reply, Yezi said slowly. When the battle is over, I will naturally tell you what you want to know. In addition, as the president of the Immortal Guild, I invite you, Crocodile, to join the Immortal Guild and become an immortal member. The voice fell. In Crocodile's mind, a cold beep suddenly sounded. You are eligible to be invited by the Immortal Guild. Would you like to join? What's this? Crocodile came back to his senses, opened his eyes wide, and immediately stunned. Chapter 13, Official Member, Look, you just need to join in. Here you can get everything you want. Yezi said calmly. Everything you want? Crocodile murmured, all he wants is Pluton and strength. This Immortal Guild, Pluton may be possible, but can it bring strength to himself? Call. After taking a deep breath, he glanced at Yezi, whose Fengking Yundan seemed to consume nothing. Crocodile couldn't guarantee what would happen if he refused, maybe, would die. He doesn't want to die. Join in. After a moment of contemplation, Crocodile said directly. Suddenly, the voice in his mind sounded again. Successfully joined the Immortal Guild, congratulations on becoming a full member of the Immortal Guild. During this period, you will enjoy guild benefits, immortality, life is immortal. You can use your points to make a copy of the game. You are eligible to participate in plunder. You are eligible for store shopping. You are eligible to enter the guild base. When you leave the guild, everything you get from the guild will be taken back. The guild president has the right to kick you out of the guild at any time. P.S. Before Lion was not eligible to purchase from the guild store, in fact it was wrong, it should be qualified, I will modify it later. This is your ability. Crocodile frowned, taking this as Yezi's devil fruit ability. But the next moment, however, his complexion changed suddenly, he felt the surging vitality suddenly appeared in his body, and his eyes suddenly appeared unbelievable. This immortality? Is it true? His eyes fixed on Yezi, wanting to be confirmed. What he wanted most was Pluton and strength, but to be honest, he wanted lifespan too, but before that, he knew that an endless lifespan was impossible, so he never expected it. But I didn't expect that today, I actually got it. Immortal. Endless life. He is not Ryan, and he naturally knows that the surging vitality in his body cannot be faked. It is real vitality. I don't know how long this vitality can keep him alive, but he knows that at least hundreds of years are not a problem. Hundreds of years are enough time for him to do too many things. I'm not a fruitful person. Yezi raised the corner of his mouth, answered Shalak's question earlier, and then smiled. How? How? I don't know, Crocodile only knows that now he definitely does not want to quit the guild, nor does he want to be kicked out of the guild. Immortal. Thinking of the effect of immortality, his breathing is also the same as that of Lien at the beginning, and he can't help but rush up, his heart is fiery. This kind of welfare, after he really felt it, he didn't have any thoughts of quitting, even if it was to make him pay what he had now. But soon, Crocodile just calmed down, said. What do I need to pay? Or, in front of you, the guild leader, what should I do to not be kicked out of the guild? After saying this, Crocodile couldn't help sighing, a little helpless. He is not a fool, otherwise he wouldn't plan to steal the country. From the moment I said this sentence, it was equivalent to surrendering to Yezi, or in other words, surrendering to the welfare of the guild. Because he will not give up that endless lifespan. Therefore, he needs to meet Yezi's everything and complete any possible future orders from Yezi to ensure that he is not kicked out of the guild. He can't bear this endless lifespan. So it can only be so. Yezi raised the corner of his mouth, naturally knowing the meaning of Crocodile's words, couldn't help laughing, and said. It's very simple. I will naturally tell you something, and you can finish it then. But trust me, soon, you will feel lucky to join Immortal. Crocodile nodded, without speaking. In fact, he already felt lucky to join. Immortal. In this world, who can be immortal? 5 elders. 4 emperors. Other Shishibukai. No, no, no one can. But I can. Even Crocodile can imagine that when one strong person dies, he is still alive, and he is still getting stronger as time goes by. At that time, I will control the world. Rain ground. Inside the Yin, in the room on the 2nd floor. The light is still dim. Yezi and Crocodile both returned here. At this moment, Yezi was sitting on the sofa, asking himself about the system in his heart. System, if I put devil fruit on the guild store, I will buy it again at that time, can it be used to open plunder and branch guild bases? The devil fruit put on the guild store can only be purchased first. In other words, it doesn't matter whether devil fruit is put on the shelf or not in the guild store, but after it is put on the guild store, you can earn some points. Yezi murmured, touching his chin. After thinking for a moment, Yezi looked at Crocodile and said. Sharlok, do you have devil fruit? Yes, 2 zoans. Crocodile replied, biting his cigar in his mouth. He had figured it out in a short time. I am already an immortal person, even if I surrender to Yezi. With immortality, oneself will be stronger than 4 emperors in the future, because oneself has endless time to make oneself stronger. For this reason, even if you become someone else's subordinate, I am afraid that countless people are not qualified to want it. 2 devil fruits, Just right. Yezee raised the corners of his mouth when he heard Shaluk's words, and said with a smile. You put those 2 devil fruits on the guild store. Guild shop. A suspicion flashed in Crocodile's eyes. He still didn't understand this feature. Yezee shook his head helplessly, stood up, and said. There are many functions in the guild. You'd better find out all by yourself, then you will know how terrifying and powerful the guild is. Chapter 14, 2 Fruits. Yezee got up and left the room directly. Outside. Nico Robin was standing outside with his back against the wall. When he noticed Yezee coming out, he glanced at the man curiously, and then looked away again. Because she had noticed that the desire in Yezee's undisguised eyes glanced back and forth on her body. I have to say that Robin is really sexy, and Yezee really didn't hide his desires. A beautiful woman is something a man would want to press under his body, and he was no exception, and he didn't bother to hide it. He can't make himself look like a fake cunt. But Yezee just chuckled and said. Take me to a room, I'm going to rest. The matter on Crocodile's side has been temporarily resolved, but he is not in a hurry to leave. It will take some time. During this time, he still needs to think about some things and has already explored some small functions of the system. Come with me, Robin said. Robin did not refuse Yezee's request, because she was also very smart. After returning from Crocodile and Yezee, she sensitively discovered that the relationship between the two had changed, from being a stranger to being like a friend. She doesn't know exactly what the relationship is, but it is certain that it will not be a hostile relationship. Soon. Robin brought Yezee to the outside of a room. Yezee pushed open the door, and when he was about to walk in, he couldn't help turning his head to look at Robin, and the corner of his mouth raised a smile. Want to come in and chat? Forget it, I'm afraid that if you go in, you will eat all the bones. Robin smiled slightly, refused decisively, and then turned around and left. Robin could tell from Yezee's eyes that if he could, Yezee would definitely eat himself. She wouldn't risk her own body. That's such a pity. Yezee shrugged and walked straight into the room without caring. The other side. Crocodile here. Because of Yezee's words, Crocodile was groping for the function of the guild. First, what Crocodile saw was the guild shop. Crocodile was stunned when he saw the goods in the guild shop. Lightning? The ability to summon thunder? How is this possible? Crocodile couldn't help but be shocked. Thunder, that should only be used by Logia's thunder fruit ability. The skill book in this store can make people summon thunder? Crocodile was a little skeptical. And that goblin summoning card can actually summon goblins? What are goblins? Do I need points to buy? Crocodile murmured while rubbing his chin, and finally figured out how to get points. After a while, Crocodile understood how to get points and how to earn them. Without any hesitation, Crocodile directly took out his 2 Zoan devil fruits. The 2 Zoan devil fruits were obtained very early on, and they were useless and never given to his subordinates. He doesn't value Zoan's devil fruit, but Paramecia more. Originally, he planned to sell these 2 fruits directly after a while, but now it seems that it has a better use. Immediately, Crocodile put all the 2 fruits on the guild store. 1 devil fruit got 10,000 points, and he got 20,000 at once. After getting the points, the first thing Crocodile redeemed was the Thunder Falling skill book. He wants to see if the products in this store are exactly the same as the ones introduced. After a while. It's actually true. The excitement in Crocodile's eyes suddenly appeared. He raised his right hand, and a trace of lightning flashed. It can be said that as long as he thought about it, there would be a lightning strike directly. This is what the guild leader said, the guild's ability. Crocodile murmured, and even the name Yezee had changed. Lying on the bed, Yezee opened the guild shop. The things in the guild shop are still the same. But right now, in the guild store, There are two more new things. 2 devil fruits. Zoan devil fruit. The same price is 10,000 points. Buy. Without any hesitation, Yezii directly bought one of the 2 fruits. Suddenly, 2 devil fruits appeared in front of Yezii. The spiral pattern is the symbol of devil fruit. This is devil fruit, this is the first time I've seen it. Holding a devil fruit and looking at it carefully, Yezii finally shook his head and said directly. System, use these 2 devil fruits to open a dungeon and a loot respectively. If it is a powerful devil fruit, although it has the disadvantage of being afraid of sea water, he does not mind eating it. Unfortunately, it is only Zoan, and it is the most common Zoan. As for why not save 2 devil fruits to open the branch base? This idea is not currently available to Yezii, at least not until the number of official members reaches 5. The reason is also very simple. Because branch associations represent a new world. In a new world, if there is not enough strength, it is difficult to hold the guild, and it is difficult to stand on the heels to obtain resources. At least 5 strong men no less than Crocodile are needed. And this time, with Yezii's voice falling, the sound of the system also began to sound. Chapter 15, Plundered Land and the opening of a new copy. Randomly turn on looted land. Random screening. Screening world, Hokage Ninja, the third Ninja World War battleground. Randomly open a copy. Random screening. Screening completed, Pokemon Team Rocket sub-base. The third Ninja World War battlefield and Rocket Team sub-base. Hearing the result, Yezii couldn't help but startled, and then he touched his chin and thought. Plundering means plundering all resources, that is, people or things. That is to say, the third Ninja World War should allow me to get a lot of ninjas or ninjutsu, etc. And that Pokemon should be the ability to get Pokemon or Pokemon. Ninjas are pretty good. In this world, the ability of ninjas can undoubtedly be better displayed, and ninjutsu of various attributes is undoubtedly a powerful fighting force. And Pokemon is okay, if possible, maybe a Pokemon army can be formed. But the plundering battle is on the battlefield of the Third Ninja World War. It's not easy to do, and it will take a while. In the Third Ninja War, there are naturally many strong ones, and the number of ninjas to plunder must be enough, otherwise it will be of little use to plunder 1 or 2, so you must prepare for a period of time and wait until there are enough people. In the past, loot a lot of ninjas to maximize the effect. After all, plunder is only a one-time thing. It disappears after one time. Of course, to maximize profit. Shaking his head, he didn't think about it anymore. The most important thing now is devil fruit. There are many devil fruits, and there are also many open dungeons and looting battles. It is also possible to open a branch base. So now the most important thing is to find a way to get a lot of devil fruit. Thinking of this, Yezii planned it directly. After a moment. In the guild, there is a new notice. The members of the guild are divided into trainee members, full members, elite members, elders, vice presidents, and presidents. The chairman is unique. There are 2 seats for the vice president and 10 seats for the elder. Elites and regular members are not limited. And this notice is related to the guild member level. A devil fruit, which can be promoted from trainee to full-time member. 3 devil fruits can be promoted from regular members to elite members. 7 devil fruits, which can be promoted from elite to elder. The vice president is not included here. Note, devil fruit purchased from the guild store does not count. When the notice is posted, Crocodile and Ryan got the news at once, and immediately checked it out. In this way, as long as I find a devil fruit, I can become a full member. Ryan said excitedly. In order to become a full member, he was trying his best, but he didn't know how to make Yezii promote himself to a full member. And now, there is finally a way. But before that, Let's complete the task given by the president first. Ryan said, not planning to find devil fruit immediately. In his eyes, the president's task is more important. And Crocodile thought, this should be the membership level in the guild, but what is the use of the membership level? Fortunately, there is a relevant introduction in the member level, you can check it yourself. Crocodile immediately began to check it out. The higher the member level, the higher the treatment they can enjoy. It is like the teleportation array between the guild and the main guild base. Only elite members can use it. The higher the level, the higher the guild store's purchases. And the chances of the good things exploded in the dungeon are also greater. Etc. There are many benefits. Crocodile read them one by one. After reading it, Crocodile's attention was no longer above the guild member level, but above the guild. A branch guild is a guild created in other worlds, and other worlds. After realizing the meaning of the sentence, Crocodile was shocked again. In other words, there are actually other worlds. Crocodile's eyes widened suddenly, and there was a flash of light in them. His mood was shocked and he was unbelievable, but more, he was thinking if there were other worlds, what would it represent? What is it? Crocodile thought a lot. There are countless other powerhouses, powerful forces in other worlds, powerful weapons comparable to Pluton in other worlds, and so on. Even, will there be a strong one beyond Whitebeard in One Piece world? Crocodile thought a lot, but also had a strong idea. I have to go to see the other worlds, how it is. Speaking of it, could that so-called goblin be a product of other worlds? Crocodile muttered suddenly, but after thinking about it, he shook his head again, not entangled with this, but just picked up a phone. The worm dialed out. Soon. The phone was connected, and a respectful voice came. President. Order to go down, from now on, search for the whereabouts of devil fruit with all your strength, and if there are some devil fruit auctions at auctions, you must also take pictures. Yes. Okay. After the phone was hung up, Crocodile was sitting in the dim room, tapping the desk tabletop with his right index finger, and then an excited smile appeared. The Immortal Guild, really, as the president said, it brought me a huge surprise. Perhaps here, I can indeed get everything I want. And at this moment. Ding. A crisp reminder sounded in Crocodile's mind. A azure blue layout suddenly appeared in front of Crocodile. That is the chat box. Only a word from Yezii. Come over to me. Seeing this, Crocodile didn't hesitate, just got up and walked towards Yezii. For Yezii, Crocodile now has only one idea in his heart, to devote everything possible to make Yezii happy with him, so that he can stay in the guild, even if he lowers his arrogant head. Crocodile will never have hesitated. In the room, Yezii was lying on the bed, playing with a cluster of hellfire in his right hand, but his eyes were looking into the distance through the window, which is the capital of this country. Royal Nefertari, it's time to play your part. Chapter 16, The Role of the Nefertari Royal Family President. You are looking for me. Crocodile knew the location of Yezii from Robin, came to the room and asked, with a faint respect in his tone, and even lowered his head when speaking, without looking directly at Yezii. This shows that he has wisely lowered his position. Seeing this, Yezii couldn't help but laughed in satisfaction, but he also talked about business directly, said. The throne of this country you've been planning, right? Yes. Crocodile nodded and said. If you mind, I will immediately revoke the plan for the Nefertari royal family. It doesn't need to be undone. Yezii shook his head, then said instead. Actually, I know that you want the throne of Nefertari just because you want Pluton. Pluton is really good and powerful. Rumors can easily destroy an island. In fact, I know where Pluton's design drawings are. It's in Kishui. On a person in the capital. but your horizons should be enlarged a bit. Before you could put it on Pluton, but from the moment you join the guild, your horizons should be enlarged instead of continuing to sit and watch. What do you mean? Crocodile frowned, puzzled. Yezii said directly. Do you know the guild's copy? I know, I just learned about it. Crocodile nodded, 2 copies of the guild, 1 Grand Forest and 1 Pokemon. What about plundering land? Also clear. In fact, those are real worlds. Each world has its own power system and its own power for cultivation, which is completely different from the world we live in. Yezii raised his index finger and said. Take the world where Grand Forest is located. The strongest existence there is the one that can easily destroy this world. In the eyes of those strong, the so-called Pluton is just an item that can be easily destroyed. And the world in which the plundered land exists, that is, the Hokage world, has a power that can cut the moon. He said Tensagan. And this time. After hearing Yezii's words, Crocodile couldn't help but take a breath. After all, in his opinion, the most other worlds are people who are stronger than Whitebeard, but he didn't expect it to be so terrifying. Strength. Easily destroy this world? Can even cut the moon? Hiss. Crocodile couldn't help but a look of shock appeared in his eyes. Yezii shook his head and said. I have said so much, in fact, to tell you that things like Pluton are not available or not. It doesn't matter. If you have time, you can get it. After all, it doesn't hurt. But I hope you can focus on Devil. Above fruit, the development of the guild cannot be separated from Devil fruit, understand? I understand. Crocodile answered immediately after being silent for a moment. He was a little clearer. The main one is Devil fruit. In other words, what we want to collect now is Devil fruit. With Devil fruit, the guild can develop, and after the guild develops, the benefits to oneself will be great. Okay. Yezii nodded, then talked about the Nefertali royal family, said. About Nefertali, you can take advantage of it. The Nefertali royal family knows what you think of this country. As a royal family, this country's standing army has more than 600,000 people. Undoubtedly, they have a lot of financial resources, and this financial resources will enable us to obtain Devil fruit faster. You mean, let them collect Devil fruit for us? Crocodile raised an eyebrow and asked. Yes. Yezii nodded, and smiled with the corners of his mouth raised. Although Nefertali has little weight in New World, there should be its own intelligence channels in the Grand Line and even among the major countries. It will undoubtedly be easier for them to collect Devil fruit. And didn't they want to deal with you? Isn't it better? It just happens to be a deal. If they can take out Devil fruit, you will not only stop targeting this country, but you can protect this country in turn. This is Yezii's idea. Although the country of Alabasta is not strong, it can even be wiped out in front of the real strong, but there are many others, it is a behemoth, and there are many people, it will be easier to collect Devil fruit. Therefore, this country can't let it go. I get it. Crocodile wasn't stupid, he understood it all at once, said. About this matter, I will let people go to the palace to negotiate with King Alabasta. In fact, although I have been targeting this country for several years, it is considered as a protection. At least some of the pirates who came to die have died in me. In hand. I think they will not refuse. With that, Crocodile raised a sneer on his face. Obviously, even if King Alabasta refused, Crocodile would definitely use some special methods. But Yezii didn't care about this. As long as the goal is achieved, he will not care about what methods are used. After all, people are not for themselves, the heavens are destroyed, and he himself is not a good person. Good people live soon. In fact, to use the simplest analogy, if you kill Alabasta and you can get a lot of Devil fruit in an instant, Yezee will never mind killing Alabasta. This world is not the earth. Everything speaks with strength. Then I'll go back and prepare first. Crocodile said. Well, go. Yezee gave up. Crocodile nodded, turned, and left, but soon, he turned his head back and smiled. If you don't leave for a short period of time, you can rest here. If you have any needs, you can tell me directly. Okay. Yezee nodded. In a short time, he really won't leave. Crocodile also walked out of the room directly. But as soon as he walked out of the room, Crocodile was facing a bodyguard not far away. Find 2 beautiful women who are clean, and serve the adult in there. If you can't find them, you can even find them in the workplace. As long as there are suitable candidates, please tell me. Yes. Chapter 17, A Proud and Conceited Person. Father, I have found someone who can deal with Crocodile. Rain, in a certain room, a beautiful woman with long sky blue hair was holding a phone worm and said excitedly, she couldn't forget, just before, the one she saw on her way to the rain. Battle. Although the man only saw his back, he forced Crocodile to say the word give up himself. When it was, her mind was full of shock. That's Crocodile, that's one of Shichibukai, what a arrogant and conceited person. Actually said give up? Shocking. Really, Vivi? Do you know who it is? Another excited voice came from the phone worm. It was her father, Nefertari Cobra, the king of this country. Crocodile's plan to steal the country against this country, he, as the king of this country, is naturally very clear that in order to find a way to deal with Crocodile, he has tried his best, but there is no way. Because Crocodile is Shichibukai, even Marine can't help, and Crocodile's strength is even more desperate. In the entire kingdom, even the strongest soldier in the kingdom is just an ant in front of him. And now that someone can deal with Crocodile, Cobra is very excited. Vivi was also extremely excited, but said, I don't know who he is, but I saw that person was fighting Crocodile, and Crocodile is not that person's opponent. I think as long as I can find that person to persuade them to help, he will definitely be able to save our country. Then do you know where he is? I know, at the rain banquet, I saw him go in with Crocodile. What? What if he is from Crocodile's side? Cobra suddenly became worried when he heard people in the rain banquet. Vivi, don't go to that person. It's too dangerous. If he is from Crocodile, then your identity will be exposed, and they will never let you go. Father, I want to try, so we have the only hope now. Vivi shook her head and said. She knew that her father was worried about herself, but Vivi still wanted to try and save the country. Vivi, no. Cobra wanted to persuade, but before he finished speaking, Vivi had already hung up the phone worm. Father, believe me, I have to try it. Vivi muttered firmly. And not long after Vivi just hung up the phone worm, another phone worm suddenly rang in her pocket. Blue brew. Hey. Vivi quickly answered the phone, adjusted his tone, and spoke calmly. A voice came from the phone worm. Miss Wednesday, come to a rain feast. Company, President. Hearing the sound, Vivi knew who was calling for an instant, and was shocked immediately. But soon, Vivi just recovered and hurriedly said. I know, I'll go by right away. Okay. The phone worm hangs up. Vivi was a little nervous. Why did he call me over? Is it possible that he has found out who I am? No, it should not be, it should be other things looking for me. Vivi comforted himself in his heart. She is the princess of this country. In order to find a way to deal with Crocodile, she even assassinated Crocodile was lurking in Crocodile's Baroque work agency. Rain feast. In the Crocodile room. At this moment, Vivi has arrived here, although a little nervous, but still speaking in a calm tone. My president. Well, Miss Wednesday, I need you to do something. Crocodile bit a cigar in his mouth and looked at Vivi in front of him. Now he doesn't know Vivi's identity, but just said lightly. Wait for a while to change your clothes, someone will take you there, all you have to do is to wait a while to serve an adult. Serve an adult. Hearing that, Vivi couldn't help frowning slightly, she just wanted to refuse, she knew what it meant to serve, it was nothing more than serving with her own body. But soon, she noticed a sensitive word in Crocodile's words. Grown-ups. A character called an adult by Crocodile. Could it be that the man? A figure appeared in Vivi's mind, and he couldn't help taking a deep breath, said. I see. Yezii sat cross-legged in the room, eating food. After all, although his level is strong, he consumes a lot, and naturally has a lot of appetite. Although he did not consume a lot of money in the battle with Crocodile just now, he was still a little hungry. I'm finally full. He patted his stomach, Yezii patted his stomach comfortably, letting people come to clean up. Soon, the room was cleaned up, and Yezii was also ready to try the Pokemon dungeon to see what would come out. But right now, the door was suddenly opened, and a slender figure walked in. Hello, my lord, this is Miss Wednesday, I will serve you as Master Crocodile ordered. The visitor lowered his head and said in a sweet voice. Hearing the sound, Yezii looked up, and then he was taken aback. Miss Wednesday? Blue hair, is this Vivi? Yezii looked at the woman in front of him, wearing a pink dress, revealing a pair of white and tender long legs, with long sky blue hair draped behind his back, looking very a lady has a special temperament. This woman is Vivi. Yezii recognized it at a glance. At this time, Vivi also saw Yezii and recognized Yezii at a glance. It was the man who had slapped Crocodile and shouted out the word surrender, and he was instantly delighted. The corner of Yezii's mouth raised, and he didn't expect Vivi to come here, and he was sent by Crocodile to serve him. He knew what Crocodile thought was nothing more than satisfying himself. But Vivi, are you sure you are here to serve me? If I guess right, you should be the princess of this country. Yezii raised his mouth and smiled. You, how do you know? Hearing Yezii's words, Vivi's face suddenly turned pale, and he took a few steps back nervously. What are you here for? Or, your purpose is me? Yezii didn't answer. Instead, he felt his chin and thought to himself, muttering to himself. Let me guess, the current Alabasta is chaotic, and there is perennial drought. This country is almost about to break out of civil disasters, and your father, the king of this country, is no longer supported by the people as before, and even wants to let it will step down. And all this is mainly because of Crocodile. And you are here. Do you want me to help you deal with Crocodile and save this country? Following Yezii's words, Vivi also kept backing away, feeling a little scared in his heart. Unexpectedly, his purpose was all spoken out by the man in front of him. There was almost nothing wrong, which made her a little scared. Even the thought of regret coming here came in my heart. At this moment, Yezii scanned Vivi's body unabashedly and grinned. It's impossible to deal with Crocodile. He is useful to me, but I can free your country. Chapter 18, Conditions. A person's mentality changes quickly. Just like Yezii, he is a person with a firm heart. After gaining strength and the system, if it is an ordinary person, it may expand, but Yezii does not. But because of this, Yezii's vision has been expanded a lot, and his mentality has also changed. If Yezii saw some female characters in the second element before, he would be very excited. I am afraid that Yezii would agree to any of their conditions. But now it's different. For Yezii now, unless you fall in love with each other, you have to pay the price of letting me help you. Otherwise, like a person like Nami Robin, Yejo is still a woman in the eyes of Yejo, but she is more beautiful, with a halo on her body. Of course, pressing this woman under her body will also have a kind of conquest feel. Vivi stood still and hesitated. Seeing this, Yezii wasn't anxious, but instead lay on the bed and laughed. The only thing you can make me fancy is your body. Although he and Crocodile have decided that they will not continue to target Alabasta, Yezii will not tell this matter, and there is no need to say it. As the saying goes, full of warmth and lust, Yezii himself has just eaten, and has a strong desire, there is a pretty beauty standing in front of him. How can Yezii let it go? In that case, he would be Luziawai. I hope you can't speak without words. Vivi bit his lip and said. The next day. Early morning. The golden sunlight fell in the room. Yezii Vivi opened his eyes, looked at Vivi who was sleeping beside him, couldn't help but smiled, and then got up. I have to say that the two-dimensional women are really good, at least Yezii thinks it is good. After getting dressed, Yezii moved into the guild base with a thought. Inside the dim hall, Yezii sat on the throne and sent out a message casually. Soon, another figure appeared in the hall. That was Crocodile. After seeing Yezii, Crocodile acted like a Tao. President, do you have any instructions? Okay. Yezii nodded and said directly. No need to prepare, send someone to talk to Cobra, revoke the plan against Alabasta, and ask Cobra to take out 3 devil fruit every 3 months as a condition to protect Alabasta. In such a rush without the slightest preparation, I think Cobra would not believe what I said, and even doubt if I have another conspiracy against Alabasta. Crocodile said for a moment of contemplation. Crocodile targeted Alabasta for several years. Without any preparation, he went to Cobra to negotiate terms. It was suspected to be absolute. Yezii knew this too, but he smiled. Don't worry, someone will help you then. I see. Crocodile nodded, motioned to understand, and then left. As Shayluk left, Yezii was still sitting on the throne, and his index finger tapped the armrest, making a ticking sound. Vivi. Although it's just an ordinary woman, since you are my first woman, I will give you a chance. I hope you can work hard. Yezii's whisper sounded in the hall. No one knows. Noon. Yezii returned to the room from the guild base. At this time, Vivi had already woke up, was sitting on the bed holding the quilt, his face was full of sadness, and a few tears appeared. Seeing this, Yezii couldn't help but froze, a little strange. What? Is it possible that you regret it? Yezii asked with a smile. Hearing the sound, Vivi raised his head abruptly, and said hurriedly when he saw Yezii. You didn't go, it's great, great. Go. Yezii couldn't help laughing. Knowing why Vivi looked like just now, he undoubtedly felt that he didn't believe it, so he left. Thinking of this, Yezii said calmly. Don't worry, what I say will definitely be done. If you change your clothes, go to Crocodile. He will go to the palace with you and negotiate terms with Cobra. From now on, the Baroque Working Society will no longer target Alabasta and will protect Alabasta from pirates. But on the contrary, Alabasta needs to take out 3 devil fruits every 3 months as a reward. 3 devil fruits. Hearing this, Vivi couldn't help frowning, but soon became happy and hurriedly said. I see. Although there are a lot of 3 devil fruits, I will certainly persuade my father. Go. Yezii gave up. Vivi got dressed soon, but he was a little awkward in his actions. As Vivi was about to leave the room, Yezii thought for a while, still said. Although you were just a deal with me last night, I am a very possessive man. I hope you can understand that from now on, you can only belong to me. Hearing Yezii's words, Vivi couldn't help but tremble. He seemed to be shocked by Yezii's domineering words. A blush appeared on his face, and then he hurriedly left. But when he left a whisper. No, got it? Chapter 19, Pokemon Copy. Yezee naturally heard the whisper, but only smiled. Although he has no feelings for Vivi at the moment, he is his own woman after all, and it is the first time for the other party. The blood lotus on the bed sheet cannot be faked, and the man himself has a great possessiveness. The possessiveness is stronger, and naturally Vivi will not be allowed to get along with other men in the future. The woman who has FK'd herself can only be her own. For a lifetime. Call. Yezee murmured secretly as he spit out a mouthful of turbid air. Let's talk about the plundering battle when you invite a few more people. As for now, go to the dungeon of Team Rocket first. Enter the dungeon, Team Rocket's sub-base. Mind a move. Next moment. After a while, Yezee suddenly found that he had appeared at the entrance of a cave, and in front of him was a dark cave, obviously deep and full of darkness. Is this the world of Pokemon? The air is good. Yezee murmured, the corners of his mouth raised. There must be no one who doesn't know about the Pokemon world. Even if they don't know, it is very little. After all, Pokemon can be said to be childhood. Whether it is animation or game Pokemon, many people's childhood is full of them. Yezee is no exception. Even when he grows up, he still plays Pokemon games sometimes. Coming to this world at this time, although it is a copy, it still has some emotions. Team Rocket is a force in the Kanto region, and the boss is Sakuga. And the Rocket's sub-base, it must be a Pokemon that will fight against him later. After all, in this world, there are only Pokemon with powerful combat power, and there are some rare superpowers. Shaking his head, Yezee didn't think much, just lifted his foot into the cave and walked towards the depths. And this time, a beep sounded beside his ear. Clear mission, kill King Nito of Blacken. Is this the big boss of this dungeon? Interesting. With a faint smile on the corner of his mouth, Yezee continued to deepen. Soon. There was a slight sound before the convenience. Start testing the data, remember to save it all. Which Pokemon have been delivered recently? Are there any rare elves worth studying? Obviously, it will soon be possible to completely reach the Rocket's sub-base, and there must be a group of researchers there. As predicted. Yezee soon reached the deepest point, where a metal gate was tightly closed, and there were two black-clothed bodyguards standing outside the gate, guarding it. Stop, who are you? Don't come near here. Get out of here, boy. When the two bodyguards saw Yezee, they immediately cursed loudly. Idiot. Yezee was helpless, his figure appeared in front of the two in a flash, and his fist slammed out. Boom. The heads of the two of them were directly bombed, and the Pokeball in their hands almost died before they could use it. This is the advantage of Yezee in this world. People in this world are used to fighting with Pokemon, but they don't know that Yezee's speed is so fast that they can kill Pokemon before they can take it out. Whoa! A burst of golden light flashed from one person. Suddenly, something exploded. Seeing this, Yezee couldn't help raising his eyebrows. When he picked up the thing, he saw that it was a Pokemon ball. Pokemon ball, Big Stinger Bee. Big Needle Bee, forget it, I'll throw it into the guild shop later. Yezee shook his head, not very satisfied with this Pokemon. Although Big Needle Bee is good, it needs a large number to be strong. Or it is specially cultivated, but unfortunately Yezee does not have time to cultivate a large Stinger Bee. Put the Pokemon ball into the necklace of the void. Then, Yezee looked up at the closed iron door in front of him. There are two cameras on the iron door. Obviously, the people inside may have discovered him. If he goes in now, he may be greeted by a large number of Digimon. But Yezee didn't hesitate at all. Just a thought. Boom. Above Yezee's fists, a ray of light flashed. Immediately afterwards, A transparent armor appeared on the skin of the body. Strong fist. Body armor. Both are the abilities of the Supreme Martial Emperor. Strong punches can increase damage, and the Tyrant body armor can enhance the defense. It is a bit similar to Armament Haki in the Pirates, but in terms of defense, the Tyrant body armor is far superior. Armament Hakis. Looking at the door in front of him, flames spewed from Yezi's body, followed by a fist with his right hand. The fist burst into flames, and a punch slammed out. Rumbling. The metal door was slammed open by Yezi's punch. It flew towards the door fiercely, and finally smashed into the wall. Dust rises. Yezi lifted his foot and walked in, stepping in step by step. Soon, the dust dissipated. And the scene inside the metal gate also appeared in Yezi's line of sight. This is a huge underground space with a large number of iron cages in which various Pokémon are held, and some sophisticated instruments are placed everywhere. In addition, there were more than a dozen researchers in white coats, who were standing in front at this time, their eyes fixed on Yezi. Who is it? People from the Alliance? Or the trainer who accidentally discovered this place? Whoever he is, solve it quickly. Maybe this place has been discovered by the Alliance. We have to report to the above, and then leave. The sound came from time to time. One after another red light appeared, and one after another Pokémon appeared in front of Yezi. Great Needlebee. Big Butterfly. Abby. Etc., etc. They are all Pokémon unique to the Kanto region, and were released from the Pokémon Ball at this time. It's the first time to fight a Pokémon, but it's fun. Yezi grinned without any fear. At the same time, the fire of hell erupted from his body, indicating his fighting spirit surged. Chapter 20, Lightning Flashes, Jetting Flames. Big Needlebee, use a double needle. Beatahuo, use paralysis powder. Abio, bite. Although the researchers are not good at directing Pokémon to fight, they still know what they should know, and they ordered their Pokémon to attack Yezi. The moves are interesting. If you form a Pokémon army, they might be useful. Yezi muttered. After all, Pokémon types are different, and there are various moves. In the world of One Piece, except that they cannot be elementalized. It is equivalent to being a Logia fruit ability person, and it is not impossible that some powerful Pokémon may even be comparable to a grand prize. If some super mythical beasts, Tusk, crash an island with one move, it is not impossible. Flash Step. As soon as his figure flashed, Yezi disappeared in place, avoiding the attacks of the Pokémon. Seeing this scene, the researchers suddenly became astonished. What's the matter? Why is he so fast? Superpowers? No, it's impossible. It's like a flash of electric light. It's the speed of the physical body. How can human beings have such a fast speed? They were extremely shocked. In this world, it is completely impossible for anyone to burst out so fast with a physical body in an instant, which is almost equivalent to teleport, which can only be accomplished by Pokémon. Sometimes it's lost, but it can be deadly. Noting the researchers' shock, Yezi's figure quietly appeared behind them, with a sneer at the corner of his mouth, and then his right leg swept across. Boom! The power of terror burst out. One leg swept and kicked the three researchers directly. Yezi's strength was not something that these weak researchers could resist. It almost slammed into a solid metal wall, blood spurted from his mouth, and died directly. For Pokémon, Yezi is not in a hurry to solve it, and it will not be too late to wait. It is these researchers who can command Pokémon and know what moves to use, which is a little troublesome, so they just happen to solve these researchers first. Mind a move. Dance of Lightning. Yezi drank in his heart, his figure disappeared in an instant, and then he appeared next to a researcher, kicked it out, and then appeared next to another researcher with a punch. The figure flickered, appearing and disappearing from time to time. When Yezi's figure appeared again, the researchers who were standing nearby made a bang, their heads burst open, and the red and white things splashed all over the floor. The research room was suddenly filled with a bloody smell. Whoa! A golden light emerged, and something exploded on a researcher. But Yezi didn't rush to pick it up and check, because at this time, the Pokemon rushed over again, and the death of the researcher caused these Pokemon to fall into a violent state. But Yezi murmured to himself. These Pokemon should be regarded as Xyluo, the real boss is the King Nito, but the figure of King Nito. Looking around, King Nito was not seen in the research room. Shaking his head, without hesitating too much, a flame erupted on Yezi's right leg, followed by a violent kick. Fire kick. The flames on Yezi's leg seemed to turn into fire lotus. As Yezi kicked it out, the Digimons that struck forward were immediately pressed over, and the next moment they were directly swallowed. The flame dissipated. 4 or 5 Pokemon have turned into scorched corpses. This is the real world, not the world in the anime. Here is the real dying. And this time, with the death of 4 Pokemon. Wow! A golden brilliance radiated. Yezi raised his eyebrows suddenly, surprised. Compared with the copy of Grand Forest, the burst rate of this copy is quite high. That's right, something exploded again. But Yezi still didn't pick it up and check it, because the remaining Pokemon came again. Resolve early and reap rewards early. Yezi slowly said with a calm expression. The next moment he punched out, the fire of hell on his right fist was burning, as if everything was burning. Boom! Agni, strong punch. A terrifying blow directly engulfed the few remaining Pokemon, and one of them was bombarded with a fist by Yezi. However, within a short period of time, the researchers and Pokemon in the Research Institute of the Rocket Sub-Base have all died under Yezi. At this time, Yezi picked up the 2 explosive objects and checked them one by one. 2 cards. Fire Jet skill card. Flash skill card. They are all good skills. The Flash of Light is a speed type, similar to shaving, it may be comparable to shaving. Needless to say, Jetting Flames, fire attribute Pokemon skills can eject powerful flames, which is pretty good. Put the 2 cards into the Void Necklace. These 2 cards will naturally be uploaded to the guild store for people in the guild to buy, but Yezi himself estimates that he will only buy the Jet Flame. After all, he has flash steps, and with all kinds of leg skills, he doesn't need something like a flash of light. Speaking of which, where is the blackened King Nito lying on the ground? Yezi murmured, with a trace of doubt in his eyes. Although the research room is large, it can be seen clearly at a glance. But King Nito was a huge body with a height of 2 meters. If he were in this research room, he would be extremely conspicuous, but he didn't. Explain that you are not in this research room, and where can you be if you are not in the research room? After all, the research room is equivalent to a copy map. Can you still run outside the map? And at this moment, boom! A loud noise suddenly sounded. Yezi suddenly squinted his eyes and looked in one direction. It was a metal wall, which was shaking slightly at this time. Boom! There was another loud noise. Boom! Boom! The sound kept ringing, cracks began to appear on the wall, and quickly cracked like a spider web. In the end, the bang was directly pierced and shattered. At the same time, a figure appeared in Yezi's sight.